going on here?
Oh, spear! Spear by the world champion Edge!
10 moves WWE wrestlers use that shorten their careers. Number 1. The leg drop. The leg drop as a finisher was popularized by Hulk Hogan, and we've seen the move used in various ways throughout the years. However, it doesn't matter if it's on the top rope or a basic leg drop on the ground. This move is notorious for killing the backs of wrestlers performing it. A big reason that Hogan can barely walk today is because of his finishing move. Hogan has stated his regrets over having the atomic leg drop as his finisher, as he's noted the damage it's done to his hips, lower back and pelvis, and the multiple surgeries he's had to go through just to be free of pain. But Hogan isn't the only man who suffered the effects of the leg drop. Matt Hardy is also known for the high-flying move, with one of his most infamous moments being him hitting a leg drop off the top of a steel cage in 2005. Hardy eventually stopped using the move for the same reason that Hogan did. It messed up his lower back and pelvis. In fact, Matt had to get surgery as his lower back began to fuse with his pelvis. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a cruiserweight or a heavyweight, the leg drop has been proven to be an unsafe maneuver, and surprisingly, it isn't banned even though we know the long-term effects of it. Number 2. The headbutt. And we can't have this move on the list without addressing the elephant in the room, Chris Benoit. The tragedy of Chris Benoit and his family rocked the wrestling world, and when it was revealed that this incident was likely caused because of Benoit's history of concussions, WWE immediately banned the diving headbutt. The dangers of this move are quite obvious, as there's a huge risk of head-related injuries that could permanently harm a wrestler. With how stiff wrestling is these days, it's not uncommon to see moves like a brainbuster or piledriver, but when you take into account the amount of house shows WWE has, moves like the diving headbutt become extremely dangerous for the performer who consistently uses this high-risk maneuver. However, it isn't just a flying headbutt that's dangerous. Katsuyori Shibata came close to retirement following his Genesis match against Kazuchika Okada after his headbutt cracked his skull. The AEW star discovered that he had a subdural hematoma, which many didn't think he would ever recover from. The headbutt isn't used regularly these days, and for good reason. It's a self-inflicted move that could go wrong in more ways than one. Number 3. The dive to the outside. Now, this one's in the name, so it's not surprising that this risky move has more impact on the performer. When the dive connects, it usually is safe and painless, as part of the move requires the opponent to catch the wrestler doing it, but performing the move is the real trick. Lita almost broke her neck in her infamous main event match against Trish Stratus in 2004, but there have been plenty of other examples when superstars have either undershot the dive, resulting in the wrestler's head and neck hitting the floor first. Or a wrestler can overshoot the dive and unexpectedly crash into something like a barrier or an announce table. All high-flying moves are risky because wrestlers can't control gravity, but the dive seems like the move that most wrestlers have the hardest time perfecting. Number 4. Rack Attack, Nikki Bella. Now, you would think that a move called the Rack Attack would be sexy and painless, but it's a big reason that Nikki Bella was forced to retire. The finisher itself was a drop-down neckbreaker, which was a cool move that stood out from the rest of the women's roster, but the strain of having someone's entire weight on your shoulders did more harm than good, especially to Nikki's neck. Doing that even once a week sounds hard enough, but what if you had to do it 5 times a week? This is where WWE's hectic schedule came in, as it was a combination of the move and the numerous times she had to use it that caused the disc to push on the spinal cord, which allowed excess fluids into the central nervous system. Nikki got the surgery and changed her finisher when she returned, but the damage was already done. She was forced to retire because of the constant neck injuries that flared up. The Rack Attack may have been a great finisher for the former WWE Divas Champion, but it's doubtful that Nikki would have ever chose that move in the first place if she knew that the damage it would do to her career. Number 5. Shooting Star Press. The Shooting Star Press is one of the prettiest moves ever created. However, as Beyonce once said, pretty hurts. Invented by WWE Hall of Famer Jushin Thunder Liger, the move has gone through several evolutions throughout the decades. For a long time, WWE had a permanent ban on the maneuver because the risk far exceeded the reward. The Shooting Star Press is a move that needs to be perfect. One slight miscalculation can break the performer's neck or even crush a rib. From Billy Kidman's spectacular Shooting Star Press fail to Steven Regal on Nitro to Brock Lesnar's painful highlight reel at WrestleMania 19, it's astonishing that numerous careers haven't ended because of this popular move. Number 6. Swanton Bomb. Now, have you ever noticed how Jeff Hardy changed the way he used the Swanton Bomb? The former WWE Champion revealed in 2018 that he had to change the way he used the move to protect his own body. The Hardys don't move the way they did in the 90s and early 2000s because they were Team Extreme. Jeff was the daredevil who did all types of crazy aerial maneuvers, but the Swanton Bomb was a finisher that he used in every one of his matches. However, that move took its toll on his lower back and is a big reason why he limps around the ring these days. Now, the thing is, the current version of the Swanton Bomb looks more devastating than the ones he hit during the Attitude Era, so it's definitely for the best that Jeff Hardy puts all his weight onto his opponent. There's no doubt that Hardy's slowing down is a result of the insane dives he's done throughout his years. Jeff isn't diving off ladders and steel cages every week. Guys like the Hardys are reminded that as fun as it is to watch the high flyer daredevil type wrestler, their career span doesn't last long unless they slow down their risk-taking moveset. Number 7. Missile Dropkick. Now it's interesting how the simplest move in professional wrestling turned out to be one of the most dangerous. The dropkick is a move that almost every wrestler uses. The move itself isn't particularly devastating to the receiver, however, just like the leg drop, this can have long-term effects on the performer's back. The missile dropkick requires someone to jump in the air and land on the mat once it connects with their opponent. When a dropkick is used here and there, then the move is rather harmless, as it hasn't ended a WWE career. But for former superstar Maven, he recalls the pain he was in the night he performed the simple wrestling move. That was the defining move that Maven was known for, but it ended up causing him to have arthroscopic surgery on his right leg. There's nothing hard about performing the dropkick, but gravity is not your best friend, and the long-term effects of the missile dropkick definitely prove that. Number 8. The Moonsault. Shawn Michaels broke his ribs with an Asai moonsault at WrestleMania 24. Cody Rhodes suffered a small fracture in his big toe after performing a moonsault from the top of the cage against Wardlow. Sami Zayn's career almost came to a screaming halt when he botched a single springboard moonsault against Kevin Owens at Battleground 2016. The moonsault is used more frequently because the move isn't as complex as a shooting star press. However, it's caused more injuries because of the trajectory of the move is so unpredictable. Again, this is another case of high risk, high reward, but there's also a reason that a moonsault is used regularly by anyone. Kurt Angle is a prime example of this, as the Olympic gold medalist will go down as one of the best wrestlers to ever step in the squared circle. But 2005 Kurt Angle was vastly different from 2018 Kurt Angle, and the moonsault was a good reason for that. Though Kurt was more of a technical wrestler, he wasn't afraid to pop out the moonsault in big matches. The problem was that Kurt was rather inexperienced in using the aerial move. The first time he used it, it resulted in him breaking Bob Harley's arm. The moonsault got better over time in terms of being safer, but there were plenty of notable botches that severely impacted his body. Number 9. The RKO. Have you ever noticed the change in the RKO? It's very subtle, as Orton used to do the RKO with one arm, but now he does it with two. The change was due to it making it safer for Orton's shoulders and back. Orton's career-threatening back injury is no strange coincidence. While it's likely due to years of constant traveling and wrestling every week, the RKO is a big component of his recent injury. Orton himself has expressed regret over the way he's used the RKO and wish he could go back in time and change his finisher. I jump as high as I can, grab the guy's neck, and come crashing down to the mat. I've been doing it for a very long time, and I kinda wish I could go back in time and create a finishing move that didn't entail me jumping as high as I can and landing on my back. After doing that a couple of thousand times over the last few decades, I'm starting to feel it. The RKO is the perfect finisher for Orton, but it would have been understandable if he had changed it. As great as the move is, it would have been a shame to see his career end based on something that helped him become a true megastar. And number 1, the Frog Splash. Now, the Frog Splash is perhaps the second most used high-flying move behind the moonsault. When done correctly, the Frog Splash looks like a devastating move that hurts the performer and receiver. In reality, the performer was the only one who suffered the crippling effects. Guys like Eddie Guerrero and Rob Van Dam protected their opponents by using their elbows and knees to guard from full contact from the belly. Eddie Guerrero dislocated his left elbow in his very first WWE match because of how awkwardly he used the Frog Splash. Rumors have it that Guerrero's use of the Frog Splash became extremely painful over time, and Eddie's painkiller addiction got worse because of it. There has been nothing to confirm that statement, but it has been proven that the Frog Splash takes a massive toll on the wrestler's body. Imagine landing on your knees and elbows for over 300 days a year. Even worse, making one mistimed mistake can hurt both you and your opponent. There doesn't seem to be much upside when using the Frog Splash, and that's evidently in today's WWE landscape, as it's not used as much in the company apart from Montez Ford using it. But there you have it, folks. 10 moves WWE wrestlers use that shorten their careers. Be sure to leave your comments down below. I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.